October will mark 2 years since the beating death of Preston Lord. And as we approach that date and other events like Preston Lord Day and more court appearances for those that have been charged in his case, we wanted to sit down again with his family, specifically his stepmom. But before we get to that interview, I hear from so many of you who want updates on this case, so we want to give you one right now. There's only been one defendant who has taken a plea agreement, and that is William Owen Hines. He is currently behind bars after pleading guilty to manslaughter in Preston's case. But what about the other 6 remaining defendants? Are they still in custody? What's going on with their cases? I get those questions all the time. All but one have bonded out of custody, and many had their bond amounts actually reduced, but they are all still facing charges, including felony murder. Those out of custody, they do have to follow release conditions. That includes electronic monitoring and house arrest. The only defendant that is still in the custody of the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office is Jacob Meissner. The 6 remaining defendants, they had their trial pushed from this year to January 2026, and we're going to continue to follow the case. But when we sat down with Preston's stepmom, we wanted to talk about their continued push for justice, but also their commitment to being a part of the solution when it comes to teen violence. Melissa Sacanti, thank you so much for being here with us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and this is kind of the time of year that you also have a lot of events coming up. And the one that is coming up really the fastest is Preston Lord Day. And I know I was at last year's Preston Lord Day. Can you remind us what this is and that people can come out?
Preston Lord Day is a proclamation that the city of Chandler started for us, and last year was our first, so this will be our second annual Preston Lord Day. We chose September 23rd because that's Preston's birthday. He would have been 18 this year, just starting college, and it is a day of celebration. It's a day to bring awareness about teen violence, have speakers from the community, and really bring friends and family together to spend time together, because that's what Preston always loved to do.
I want you to take me back 1 year ago to the first one. I know I was there. There was a butterfly release. It felt very special. Can you describe how that day felt for you last year?
Last year was a little overwhelming, just the planning process of everything. But everything turned out great, and it was a day of both sadness and celebration. One, because we don't want to have the celebration because it means Preston is gone, but it's our way to remember him, to keep his spirit alive and what he stood for. The butterflies were very symbolic of new life and growth, and I know one of the butterflies flew to Autumn's hands, and one of the butterflies flew on my shirt and kind of hung around with me for a while. And that was a little bit symbolic also of just Preston being with us that day and knowing how special it was.
And you're also going to have CPR classes, which is a project that you guys have been working on with the YMCA. But before that, you're also going to have the 2-year mark since Preston's death.
Right.
And you have another event that you're planning for then. Can you talk a little bit about that?
We're doing our Light the Night walk October 28th. We'll start at the Queen Creek Police Station. We didn't make the walk extremely long because we have gotten feedback that they don't want to do 3-mile walks. But we are doing a walk, and so we encourage people to come out and join us, wear orange to show support, bring a candle, make a sign, walk in remembrance of Preston, and we'll also have some speakers there, and truly just remember what his life meant and what it means going forward related to teen violence.
How do you think that walk is going to feel different from, I was at so many walks as you guys were pushing for justice, and I know that push is not over yet.
No, we still have a long road ahead of us to fight for justice for Preston. Hopefully trials will start in 2026. We're kind of pushing for that to hurry the case along a little bit. And Of course, it's always a day of sadness because that's the day of his assault and the day that our lives changed forever. And it's also a day of encouragement to spread the word about teen violence. If it helps prevent even one person from getting abused or attacked, then it's well worth it.
I know that you guys have always said you want to be part of the solution.
Hmm.
We've seen some major milestones this year with Preston's Law, you guys holding different events. You have been really, really involved with the community and with your nonprofit. How has it felt and how have those major milestones felt?
The major milestones feel amazing. We've had some great support with Corrine Werner, Rachel Mitchell, Matt Gress, and they've been instrumental in helping us pass Preston's Law, which is House Bill 2611, to stiffen penalties for people that intentionally attack one person, three or more assailants. And so we want to give those families in the future um, tools that they could use if their loved one is ever attacked in that nature. And we're just trying to make gains in where we can with changing laws. We did the unruly gatherings with the city of Chandler to also give police more tools in their tool belt to go into a party, especially if it's underage, a lot of drinking and alcohol before an event or something like that breaks out again.
And in terms of, teen violence, we've been covering teen violence all over the valley, not just the East Valley, but all over. When you talk about teen violence, what is something that you want people to know?
Violence starts with awareness, but it grows with prevention. And so it really starts in the home. It starts when your children are young, teaching kindness, giving children a safe space to grow, teaching them to stand up against bullying, and really being aware of any mental health changes or illnesses that may be starting with your child at a young age and getting them the help that they need. So we feel that it can be prevented, but it does take a tribe, with schooling, friends, what peers they hang out with, and what activities they're involved in, keeping them in something positive.
I do want to talk about your CPR training. I know
Mm-hmm.
we had been at the one that you've already held last year. And this has been important to you. I know that you've shared because there was a brave group of people that jumped in and did CPR on Preston. Can you talk about your CPR training? And this is free for teens.
Yes, it's hosted with the Chandler Gilbert YMCA and also the Chandler Police Department. It's a labor of love and it is for youth ages 11 to 18. It is absolutely free. If you go to the website, Justice, the number four, Preston Lord, com. There, go to our events tab, and there is a link in there. It will take you directly to the YMCA page, and all you have to do is sign up and show up. It is going to be November 22nd, and it's just 2 hours out of your day. It's from 11 to 1, and it's a great experience for kids because you never know when you'll be in a situation where you may need to know CPR. So, and it's a free certification for them to come back and get fully certified.
Yeah, a voucher.
A voucher, yes.
That's pretty incredible. And there were a lot of people at the first one. How did it feel to see all of these different young people learning this skill that you don't ever want to use, but could come in handy to save a life?
It was amazing to see the kids. They were really actively engaged. I wasn't sure how well they were going to jump on it or pay attention, but they were. And they were really getting on the mannequins, doing the CPR, the compressions, doing the mouth to mouth. and listening. And then the instructors made it fun for them. We give them breaks, we bring them back. We do provide lunch for them also. This year, Christopher Diamond is hosting our pizza for them. But it was great to see all the kids involved because that's something that will stay with them forever.
I know that you have grown close with other parents as well that have experienced teen violence or have lost children.
Mm-hmm.
What has that been like to kind of maybe not partner, but be a support system for some of those parents?
We all need somebody in our lives. And some of these parents are single parents and they don't have anybody. And so it's great to be there for someone, even just physically being in their presence and knowing that somebody's here for me, or I can reach out to somebody if I'm having a really hard day. Um, and to share in that grief because sometimes people don't understand the pain that goes with losing a child. Um, People may say, I'm sorry for your loss, but the day to day grief that kind of gnaws at you every day is always there. It never goes away. We just find a way to manage to carry it every day and become stronger to live for the person. And it's good to be a support person.
How has this second year, and how do you think marking 2 years will feel? How has the second year felt different? And how do you think the second year mark when it comes is going to feel?
There's no right or wrong way to grieve. Everybody grieves in a different pattern, a different way. Um, it's going to be a sad day because it's always the day that we remember Preston saying goodbye to him. Um, but it's also a day of encouragement and to try to bring change to the community and if not awareness, because the youth are our future and every youth deserves a life without violence in it, to try to grow to the best of their ability. And it's important. It's important to our community and it's important to our kids.
When you think about, because I don't want to delve too much into anything
Mm-hmm.
that's legal, because I know that this is still moving through the courts. But from your personal experience, what has it been like? I mean, I know there's so many court dates, and I know that there are other parents and other loved ones that go through the same process. But it seems like it can be really hard to show up each time for court.
Yeah. Um, Mentally, I always prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. And it can be really anxiety producing to have to go and listen to facts of the case or what Preston actually went through during his last moments of his life. Um, he didn't deserve to die that way. He was a very loving and kind person. And the fact that he was assaulted the way he was is really disturbing to us emotionally. But we go in there knowing that we are standing for Preston and standing for his conviction, and we are the voice that he cannot be. So we will show up every single time for him.
I know you said you have a long road ahead with court. What do you think it's going to feel like when you finally reach something, a trial or an end with the case?
I've thought about that several times. Um, you never know how you're going to feel until you're actually in that moment. I thought, am I going to burst out and cry? Am I going to be happy and elated? Am I going to scream or yell I'm not really sure how I'm going to feel because it's a mixed bag of emotions. And until those verdicts are read, um, will determine how I respond. Obviously, I know I'll be crying just as a relief of justice finally coming for Preston.
What has it meant for the community to still show up for you and surround you guys? I think one of the most powerful moments that I witnessed from this year was a prayer circle outside of court. What is it like to still feel that? Because I know for months, I mean, they walked with you, they joined you, they encouraged you. So what is that like?
The community really bonded with us because at the party where Preston was assaulted, it could have been anybody's child. And he really resonated with the community, and knowing that they're there for us and have walked this walk with us is encouraging, it's supporting. It still means that they're invested not only in finding justice for Preston, but also in curbing teen violence in general in the community.
If you had a message for parents that are out there, maybe they have a child who's about to become a teenager, or maybe they have a teenager themselves, maybe they're even thinking, man, I could use a little advice or help. What would your message be to parents?
If their child's in a crisis or having issues or problems, I would reach out to counselors, mental health providers. There's crisis lines, community resources, nonprofits have resources. There's discounted prices for children to get services that they need. If your child's doing well, know that this can happen to anybody's child. And so make sure that they're aware. They're not on their cell phones walking down streets. They're aware of their surroundings, who they hang out with, making sure mentally and emotionally that they're okay. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in this world, and it is rough to be a child or a teenager in these times. And social media is supposed to keep us more connected, but it's actually disconnected us from having real physical relationships with each other.
Yeah. And I bet at times, being a teen with social media, you probably feel like, you never really get a break. You're always kind of going, or there's always a way to connect with people instead of, maybe when I was in high school, when you did get a break, you went home, and you had that time with family.
Yeah.
If you have someone who is out there who wants to get involved with maybe your nonprofit or just wants to get involved, how could they do that?
Just go to our website, justiceforprestonlord.com. There's a contact button on there. Send us a message. It'll ask for your email, your name, and there's a comment box if you want to get involved in volunteering for any of our activities, doing our educational resources, anything like that. Shoot us a message. It goes directly to my email, and I follow up with them.
Thank you so much for sitting down. This is an important conversation, and I'm sure it's not going to be our last. We'll be at some of these events. So we have Preston Lord Day, we have the Light the Night Walk, we also have the CPR classes, and we're going to have all the information posted on ABC15.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming in, and you can look for our continued coverage on ABC15. Thank you for watching Arizona Crime Uncovered. We're working to bring awareness to crimes where victims are still awaiting justice and also provide an in-depth look at cases still unfolding. Each episode breaks down a timeline of the case, where it stands now, and if any help is needed from the community. You can watch on ABC15.com, the ABC15 mobile app, Roku, YouTube, or any of your other streaming platforms.